Welcome to the Common Council, City of Connersville, July 6, 2020 meeting. Let's all rise, and Councilman Clarence Warner will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right?
Let us pray. God, we give you thanks for this day and for this time that we've gathered here. We pray for the mayor and the council members and the decisions that are before them. We lift up the agenda to you today. We pray for wisdom and discernment and compassion as decisions are made. We pray for all those who are here to report, to inquire, to conduct business. We pray a blessing upon them, and again, using discernment and wisdom for all that's before us. We pray this in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Okay, if everyone would remind you to turn off your ringers on your cell phones. I guess I better check mine. And roll call.
Councilwoman Barrett.
Present.
Councilwoman Phillips.
Present.
Councilman Robb.
Present.
Councilman Gray.
Present.
Councilman Nettie.
Present.
Councilman Warner.
Here. Everybody has the minutes in the June 15th regular meeting. Is there any additions or corrections? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. New business. Krista, come on up. What I'm gonna have to do is let Krista and her group, since we have to social distance, have the room if the rest of us can stand out back. I would say we had a TV back here, but it's not working. There is a TV in the lobby working if you want to watch it. It is on a slight delay, so just with social distancing, we're gonna have to be creative. Yeah, you don't have to leave. You just stand outside. Come on in. Come on in. Oh, I saw Dennis out there, didn't I?
Yeah, he was somewhere, but
That's,
He went into to relax in the entryway.
oh, okay. Go ahead, Krista.
first I just want to thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to come and speak this evening on behalf of Striving for Change. It's a board that recently was formed with the mayor. I want to start from the beginning so you guys can kind of get a gist of how this board came about. On May 30th, I organized a walk in Connersville in light of the recent events and police killings of unarmed black men. This came about with the killing of George Floyd. George was killed in Minneapolis on May 25th. Officers arrested him after a convenience store employee called 911 and told police that Mr. Floyd had bought cigarettes with a counterfeit $20 bill. 17 minutes after the first squad car arrived at the scene, Mr. Floyd was unconscious and pinned beneath 3 police officers, showing no signs of life. Many videos showed officers taking series of actions that violated the policies of the Minneapolis Police Department and turned fatal, leaving him unable to breathe, even as he and onlookers called out for help. Officer Chauvin kept his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, even after Mr. Floyd lost consciousness. He did not remove his knee. Also, for a full minute and 20 seconds after paramedics arrived at the scene, he kept his knee on Floyd's neck. After I watched this video, which I'm sure most of you have in this room, I felt like I had to do something. Too many black lives have been lost recently for no reason. In February, Ahmaud Aubrey, 25 years of age, was out jogging and was killed by 2 white men in Glenn County, Georgia. In March, Breonna Taylor, 26 years old, was killed when police officers served a no-knock warrant and entered the wrong address while she was sleeping and shot and killed her. All these events led me to organize the Walk for Justice. The turnout and support was bigger than I imagined. Around 200 people from all races walked the 6-mile route, young and old. We walked peacefully from Mount Zion Baptist Church to the end of Park Road and back. The day started with a reading, prayers from local ministers, and then the walk. The mayor walked the entire route along with Judge Freed. After the walk, I approached the mayor with another idea I had. I wanted to form a board to continue to strive to make Connersville a place where people of all backgrounds and colors can feel safe and be a part of a community, while in turn working together for change. This is how the board got its name, Striving for Change. We're a small board made up of residents in the community. We meet every Friday at 10 with the mayor here at City Hall and discuss various topics to help Connersville to get to a place where we can understand one another and not be afraid to have those tough, uncomfortable conversations about race, diversity, and other issues that hold us back as a community. Some of the topics that we have discussed so far have been to hold an annual diversity training for the local police department. This is currently in the works. Dennis Perkins and myself are working on the curriculum for this that will then be approved by Chief Bolos, who also attends our meetings. Dennis will teach the class. Another topic is diversity in our school system. We've had a very productive meeting with the superintendent, Scott Collins, to discuss ways to work together to make sure our administrators, teachers, and students have diversity training and the education needed to understand one another. We also talked about the recruitment of more minority teachers and what is the barrier, the reason why they're not coming to Connersville. This is just a tip of the iceberg. We have a long way to go, but it will definitely be a marathon and not a sprint. But I know we will get there. I would also like to address the statement that was made in the Palladium item on June 26, which stated that Connersville does not have any racial issues. This statement is false. Let me enlighten you with some racial experiences that Black Connersville residents have encountered from the past to the present. Racial slurs and symbols were spray painted on the doors of a historically Black church here in Connersville. A Black family had a cross burned in their yard years ago and was told by the police they did not want to put it in the paper because it would be a domino effect. Black students in our school systems have been called racial names while attending schools by other white students. Parents having to go to the schools because their kids were labeled as thugs and addressed as you people by white teachers. A young man had a seizure and was taken to the local hospital, and his mother overheard the EMT say, "Just another Black kid that is overdosed," which wasn't the case. In another instance where a white woman who waitresses at a local restaurant here in town was treated differently because customers, after they found out she was married to a Black man. He came in the restaurant to see her and kissed her on her cheek to say goodbye. An entire table got up and left without paying because they didn't agree with it. Another instance where a young Black woman was at Walmart and was exiting the store and was stopped by a white lady who demanded that she show her receipt and the contents in her bag. The woman who was stopped thought it was odd because she was never asked to do this before. As she proceeded to leave, she watched a dozen white customers leave the store, and they were not asked to show a receipt or the contents in their bag. Clearly, we have issues in Connersville. We cannot change what we are not aware of, and once we are aware, we cannot help but change. This is why we have the board to bring awareness, education to those who believe we do not have any issues in Connersville. I hope that after listening to these stories of racial issues, you understand why we need to come together to bring about change. We have a long way to go, but we've made the first step by meeting every Friday. My prayer is that Connersville will shine bright and change and positivity that will surround the counties, that the surrounding counties will take note. It affects us all, and we have to work together. I want to thank the mayor for giving me the opportunity to organize this board and taking the time every week to listen and have those tough, uncomfortable conversations. I also would like to thank Striving for Change board members for coming together to bring about change in Connersville. Lastly, I thank you, City Council, for giving me the chance to present to you this evening. I would like to challenge each and every one of you to put yourself in someone else's shoes of a different race, background, or religion. It's not easy being the only Black kid in a class, getting the stairs when you walk into a store, or walking down the street. If we don't fix it in our hearts and address it in our homes, then nothing changes in the world. When we strive to become better than we are, everything around us comes better too. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Like I said, we've been meeting for 5-6 weeks now.
I think this will be the fifth Friday.
Fifth week, okay. And it's been very refreshing to me. It's probably one of the things I look forward to the most into my week, because we do have frank discussions, and they're good, and it's been phenomenal discussions just to be a part of. I'm privileged and proud to be part of it. So one of the things I keep talking about the most. I wanted her to come make a presentation so everyone knew what was going on, and I'm probably more overly cautious than anybody of this because I don't want anything done. I can't stand politics. Okay, I hate to say I'm a politician, but I hate politics getting involved in anything because it usually stops it. And my concern, I've shared this several times with Krista, is I'm very cautious about getting out there and saying something because I don't want politics to stop what's happening, and it's a good thing. I want results and I want action. That's what I'm after. And I've been, how many times, about every meeting I've said that. It's not about politics for me, it's about getting the action. And they're doing a great job, doing a fantastic job. The whole board is coming together, having fantastic discussions. Like I said, it's a highlight of my week. And I will thank each and every one of you for serving on the board, being part of it, and educating everyone. So I'm looking forward to where this goes. We have a logo. John designed a good logo. We're going to put it on the city webpage so we have resources.
It's out there now.
Okay. I have
It's out today.
Oh, you put it on the old city website. Well, you didn't tell me you were doing that. Tech guys. But I'm looking forward to seeing it on the new web page along with the old, but just to stay up to date where things are going, things are happening, and very good group. But thank you very much to each and every one of you who are serving in that position. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, now the hard part. Now we need to flip-flop rooms for social distancing. I feel like I'm kicking people out, but I'm not. Mr. Lovett. You guys can come in next. Your group can come in here
They
too.
can come back in now.
We're wanting to present, I'm pretty rusty on presenting, but in the county, now we can ride UTVs in our county. We are wanting to see if we can get you guys to allow us through Liberty. Indiana allows UTVs in their town, riding through, and we would like to see Connorsville that way. If you're not a UTV rider, it's a sport that's coming up, about like riding motorcycles. And I think that the city could benefit. I know one area that I get frustrated with is I hate carrying gas cans. And it would be nice if you could ride into town to fill up, or in the evening to come in and grab a bite to eat or something. There's a lot of us that ride in the evenings in the county. I think some of them call it back roading, but we just wanted to bring it to y'all's attention and see.
Explain to everyone what a UTV is, because a lot of people don't understand what a UTV is.
Yeah, compared to what we know as an ATV, what's a UTV?
It's a side-by-side. Mine is a Honda Talon. It has seat belts, lights, stop lights, brakes. You can buy kits for turn signals, and horns put on them. It's basically a small car. It's got a roll cage. You've got bright lights. You can basically drive it just like you would. As of right now, they allow you to tag sand rails in the state of Indiana, which is, these things come off the factory having stop lights, bright lights, low beams, seat belts, whether it just be a lap belt or a 4-part harness, depending on what you put on it.
Is there restrictions on times you can drive them or anything, or?
We go to Colorado and ride. They allow us to come in the towns all the time, because what it does is it brings in the people that nobody likes to load up their stuff and haul in. They don't have restrictions.
But it's got all the safety requirements to drive at night, they're visible.
Yes.
I don't have one, so I don't know.
Just like an automobile.
Okay.
What about the noise level?
They're just like a motorcycle. You can, I mean, the sky's the limit on what you do with it. But, I mean, you can set in and I talk to my wife while riding trails. So.
Is there any restrictions or allowances that the county does that might be
Not-
an assistance to us in the decision? making?
Not to my knowledge, I think you just,
Speed limit? Right.
you pay your,
You basically, you're obeying any traffic laws.
Mhm.
It's just pretty much the same as driving an automobile.
Can you put plates and things on it then?
we would love to be able to.
It'll be
No,
more like
that's a
Can't
state,
right now.
that's a state deal.
Okay.
Does the
In
county,
the county, you just buy a sticker at the license branch and
Oh,
put it on it. And,
Does it have to be insured?
well, for mine's insured with full coverage just like a car.
Yes, that's generally what everybody's doing. That's what most of the counties are
Required.
requiring is insurance on it.
liability
Introduce all
insurance?
your
Yeah,
friends.
yeah, the liability.
You introduce your friends who's,
Yeah, I'll let them say their name one at a time.
Pete Bell.
Shane Sherwood.
Bobby Sullivan, Marvin Ellison.
James
Hey,
Whitaker.
Chris, I'm with you tonight too, Jim Wolf.
Good. He's got
I
one
just
too.
bought one, right,
So I mean, they're just like a car. I mean, as the popularity, I wouldn't even know how many's in our county, but there is a lot. I mean, there's a lot. I looked up online. There is probably over 3/4 of the counties in Indiana allow riding on the back roads.
you don't think there'll be issues for, getting the tag for county and requiring one for the city also?
My personal opinion, I'll buy whatever I got to ride it on the streets. I don't.
one thing county requires is a state permit. They've done away with their permit down to sheriff's department.
Do they?
Yeah, you just go down to the license bureau. So I just went through this week ago.
There's a state permit for them?
Yes, there is a state permit.
Is that a picture of them?
Yeah.
These are different side-by-sides available.
They're registered pretty much like an automobile is.
I mean, I've got a title with mine. I got full coverage on it. I mean,
Does the county require the operator to be licensed?
Yeah.
They have to be.
You gotta be 18 years
All
old.
traffic laws apply. When you ride an ATV on the road, all traffic laws
I mean, since it's not a quote licensed vehicle, can 15-year-old drive it?
You have to be,
No.
to drive a car.
No,
And also, I mean, there's gotta be, on an ATV, UTV, there's other laws that apply where 18 and under have to have a DOT helmet.
16.
You know, we just talked,
Okay.
yeah, it's 18 and under.
So you're coming 16.
I think it'd be a way that, the city would be able to bring in revenue, and I think it'll also help, the gas stations and the heating establishments.
Do you, since it is state, or state, you have a state permit, are you allowed to drive on state highways and now?
Not as of right now, we can cross them. We can cross them at a
But
90
you
degree.
can't, the only way you can drive on a state highway is if it's in the county, not in the city, is that what it is?
Know that?
You can't drive on state highways, period.
You
can't run
Oh.
parallel,
You can go-
cross.
That means
You
if
can
all
run
of-
in the
So
grass.
even if you had a city permit, you wouldn't be able to ride on the state highways?
Well, we could ride all this.
Across.
Right. We couldn't
So
go to
But you-
44 to Liberty. The
you
biggest,
can't- all of Park Road you couldn't be on then.
Right.
State
I don't know how-
You can't just ride straight.
We
It's
can
a lot
cross,
subject.
You can cross
You
it.
have
we
to
can
cross.
cross state
Yeah,
road
state road,
today.
state road.
But
I think
I'll just
Chris
think it-
plans to
I
take this
understand
to
it.
the state level, so.
That's right.
I think that the biggest thing that's a kind of an aggravation riding them in the county is you have to go so far north and south to cross so that you can get across the river and ride. It would be beneficial to be able to ride through town.
That's
I
a
was-
state level.
I was kind of thinking that too, if you're saying you could only cross at right angles, state highway, and you have, all of Eastern Avenue, all of Fifth Street, Vine Street,
Grand Avenue.
going Third Street, and, 121,
You have,
all of 30th Street, all of Park Road, and just how much hindrance that would be on someone to
I don't,
If the same road is allowed to do it, then, I mean, these things come to a factor, like he says, with the front burning headlights, tail lights, brake
I
lights.
didn't read I read some today, and last week, but I didn't read the fine print, but I know it says that as long as the cities okay it and have it, I don't know about the state roads in the city.
To answer your question, I think, if I'm not mistaken, you can cross, we'll call it an L pattern. So theoretically, if you were coming, from the east side of town, you could probably come down 44 to the first turn. Correct me if I'm wrong there.
It's pretty subjective.
Well, I didn't say it was the law, I said, I think.
Yeah, there would be a lot of stuff we'd have to discuss.
Oh, yeah, this is just a discussion to see where
Just to
everyone's
see
at.
where we can,
If we wanna pursue it, we can pursue, see what all the legal aspects are.
My biggest concern, lawyers are always worried about liability, that's my biggest concern is the insurance. I mean, I think as long as they're on board, I think you'd have to require insurance.
Oh, yeah, proof of
Liability
insurance.
insurance.
well, insurance is as high to cover that as it is to cover my truck.
Oh, I'm
So
sure.
they're expensive,
Yeah, I'm
they
sure
are,
it is.
because they know we play off the road.
And I ask a lot of questions, I'm not familiar with them, so I'm trying to teach myself something here.
I would have to say, most of them do not have turn signals.
Right.
So I know people use their arms as turn signals, but the problem is getting to where a lot of people don't know those signals anymore.
Well, you can buy plug and play
Right,
turn signals.
right.
That
I
would
mean,
be a
if it was a-
requirement.
But you're not gonna get everybody to do that, so it's, that, everybody just has to be careful.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah, it would be a requirement.
And you
for
can
state.
bring in revenue for tickets, I mean,
If they wanna drive him, they'll put them on.
Right, right.
But I'm just saying,
Right.
I'm just
No.
highlighting an issue that's gonna be out there, cause
Right.
not everybody's gonna wanna buy that little packet to, I'm gonna probably buy another light for it instead of some turning signals. I was like, I need more light.
I think, Rosemary, when you find out when riders find out how inexpensive it is to put turn signals on, I mean, we're not talking about hundreds of dollars.
Okay, yes, I know, there's,
Well, we actually have an installer here.
Yeah, I was gonna be,
well, I'm sure like probably 5 of them can install them, so, I
No,
mean,
he doesn't.
I think then everybody's here.
yeah.
Got questions?
I think we ought to make a motion to, adopt an ordinance for.
well, we
To
can,
Well, I'm
investigate,
not
I
making
think-
a motion,
we
I'm just
can, we can make a motion to
Investigate.
investigate
but I'm
further.
not adopting it.
But I mean, I think
Any
we
other
ought to
questions?
seriously look into it.
No, as far as, I wouldn't object to more discussion and find out more about it.
I'll second your motion to investigate it.
Okay.
Questions? Okay, I guess I'll signify by saying aye to move forward with the investigation onto permitting a UTV somehow. I'll
But,
say.
wait,
Or just-
wait, but this is for the UTVs, are we gonna include golf carts in that?
I think that's part of the discussion as well.
I'm not here for golf carts.
No, I got some different issue with
But there's
golf carts.
people out there do care,
That's
and
gonna
if we're
be the
gonna
next-
do
that's
that
gonna be the next
investigation,
step.
we might as well do it all
They've already
together.
brought up golf carts, to my knowledge.
That happened in the past.
A long time ago.
And if I may, we're talking about UTVs, like
Okay.
that's
Right
up
now,
there,
UTVs.
not ATVs, the one that
Right,
are
right.
I think it's a discussion we'll probably have, but at this point, the game is UTVs.
Can I ask, I mean, would it be helpful to the council, to institute maybe a trial period so that you can see what the impact might be before final decision is made?
I think it would be something we can do after we draft some more research and legislation on it. That's not a bad idea.
It's a very good idea, but let's do a
Get to
little
that
more,
point.
let's
Get
do
to
a
that
couple
point.
more steps in the investigation
Right.
before we instigate a trial.
Okay, and is there anything we as a group can do to assist?
educate more if we ask.
If you have,
I started to drive mine down here, but I was afraid I'd put too much.
I tell you,
I wanted to make him mad right off.
I don't like to reinvent the wheel. I don't like to reinvent the wheel if it's already rolling. If you can find some ordinances somewhere to save
Yeah.
us some research, that would be
If
fantastic.
you know what
All you
cities,
gotta do is type in
Chris.
city council.
I just said.
I can bring you whatever.
You asked what you could do.
Yes, you did. You asked ask what you could do, so if you could
Okay.
find the ordinances from other cities,
can.
our size or whatever, and bring those in, or bring those in.
Remember, we're a third-class city,
Yeah,
so that
third
even
class.
changes it from a first, second, in even towns. So just let you know.
Third class city.
What's that got to do with anything?
It's the
A lot.
size of, yeah, there's
It's the
it's
size.
a lot of difference.
Well, it's just different rules for different
If you
cities,
can find any
sizes,
rules
and
and
classes.
spring us, we'll look at them.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you everyone for coming down.
Shall we go in third class?
I have no idea.
Thank you, Congressman.
Did we vote everybody on?
We didn't do the yea or nay.
No, he did.
Okay,
I,
Go
he
back.
made the motion, I seconded it.
we had a motion, second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried, thank you. Got distracted.
Yeah, I know.
Is Catherine out there?
No, Mike Bottomley's here to speak on it.
Mike Bottomley.
Do you wanna put together a group?
Whoa, yeah.
That's a good idea, Clarence.
You're gonna brave this, huh?
I wouldn't
How'd you get stuck with this?
Well, I'm here representing the park, Catherine, and the baseball committee that was developed. Catherine's on vacation this week, and she thought it was important to get this established now. And I volunteered to come in here and answer any questions that you may have.
You knew something about this, huh?
A little bit. I'm part of the committee. The committee was designed to help Catherine and Dennis through this new baseball, since we're taking over the Little League Baseball, Babe Ruth, to help advise and recommend. So the committee consists of Steve Rubel, Jimmy Clark, Michael Thompson, Scott Sargent, Matthew Watkins, and myself.
He's on it, Dave. I got Clint on it.
I'm having trouble here.
Yeah.
Okay. This, why are we here talking about this right now after, we've been having travel baseball team for years? Basically, a few weeks ago, social media, there was a little outcry that the park was charging the public to use the fields. And we thought it, which is not the case, that we need to come up with a policy on travel teams. So, local baseball teams, which not this year, but hopefully next year, can practice. You can take your son down there and play on the fields, it's no problem. So what this is for travel baseball teams, this ordinance.
Now, that's local or not local, so that,
Yeah,
okay, go ahead.
Can you, I'm sorry, Mike, can you explain the reason for the travel is for liability
right.
insurance?
So again, I need to educate on this. So is a travel team not a local team?
No, not all the time.
Well, you have local one.
If you look at the last sheet, it kind of defines what a travel team is. Of course, if they're not affiliated with our local baseball league, they're not. And it defines a local team and a non-local team. Travel teams sometimes have a hard time finding places to practice, and when they do have practice, some of the kids from out of town, they have to reserve a field and make sure it's available, not just show up and hopefully a field is available. So, that's the point, is charging them, local team, the rates here, 25, it's pretty reasonable compared to other communities around here. $25 for 2 hours, non-local team, $50 for 2 hours. If two teams want to scrimmage, it's $50, $60, and if they want to actually use our facility, put on a tournament, then there's fees for that too.
Now, my impression was, I think I figured it out, but I want to be sure that I'm correct, that the travel teams are defined as a team that is not affiliated with the league teams.
Yes.
So it can be the same children,
Yes.
but they can be on the league team and they can be on a travel team also.
Right.
So these fees would only apply to the travel
To
teams.
the travel teams.
And the kids that are on the Parks Department recreational leagues that pay registrations and whatever can use the fields for practice for no
Yes.
charge.
Yes.
Okay, I
Well,
thought
this-
that's what it was, but I just
I mean,
wanted
this
to be
is
sure.
an exceptional time because normally Babe Ruth is playing ball, girls softball's playing ball. There's usually no field time anyway for practice. A lot of times the field, the league teams are scheduled practice times, just so everybody can get to practice. But this year being an exceptional year with no league play, we have open fields. But she thought it was important to go ahead and establish these rates, in case, you know, there is times we have openings that's a team could use. Other than that, is there any questions? Like I said, we have, the last page is some notes to define things a little bit better and what they get out of it with the fee. We will, drag the, like for this scrimmage game, we'll drag the fields and line it for them, open up the restrooms for them, so,
Is this the only change to this schedule is to do with the baseball?
yeah, on this.
Everything else is the same?
Yeah, everything else is the same.
I mean, all the other, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Do you have copies of the resolutions?
I noticed,
I don't think so.
that you have
'Cause
the
neither do
rate
I.
for a tournament, that you have 100%
No, it's
of
pretty
the
normal.
income from concessions.
Mhm.
Do you have plenty of manpower for that?
I just represent the
All
part,
my stuff goes to
that's
the-
Catherine's problem.
I mean, because if for some reason,
They should have the
I
manpower.
didn't get
I mean,
this.
I assume they would use the kids that's
I
running
got it,
concessions out of the pool,
this morning, cause I couldn't find it.
things like that.
Sometimes it's
So-
because if you have a tournament, people will want something to drink and eat, and if you didn't have the manpower, I'd rather
Yeah, it's,
somebody run it than it.
it's
be-
number 6. Concession stand open and maintained by park staff throughout event.
Because I would
We don't
hate to see
wanna
it.
turn our concession stands over the people's mouth.
Oh, no, I
So,
wouldn't
we'll-
want to,
we'll
but
run the
I was just thinking for
concession-
some
those
reason
are the
to have sufficient people.
Any other questions?
So the only thing that's new on the rates is about this travel team.
Yes.
That was your question, right?
Yes, and the definition of the travel team as opposed to, yeah. I thought I had figured out, but I just wanted to be sure.
Well, and like Mike said, this has been, I mean, did you have this? Did you use these rates when you were there?
No, we,
But we didn't really have travel teams.
not.
Renting,
no,
so that's why
Back
it's-
when I was, it was mainly dad take a bunch of kids out and do some travel all-star games. Didn't have the official travel teams with how to have the insurance and all that. Plus Babe Ruth was, I mean, it was, had tons of teams and really no openings for practice. We would rent out the, industrial park like once a year for a church picnic, softball games, and to be honest with you, we used the rate of a shelter to do that. So we really never had a field rate, and that's why it needs to be established.
Is the park board okay with this?
Yes, they, recommended it,
Okay.
a week ago at their meeting.
Oh, good.
And you're, like you said before, we're not unique in this, that this is being done at other
Right, Michael
Surrounding
Thompson and
counties.
Scott,
surrounding counties and areas.
Michael Thompson and Scott Starks kind of called around, and,
And you say these are
these
reasonable
are,
compared to,
very reasonable.
I would think so.
yeah.
So you don't feel this will hurt outside people coming in?
I don't see why it would.
Okay. I mean, it's within standard guidelines.
Most travel teams, real travel teams, they're used
They expect
paying
it.
for practice time to reserve fields, because it is hard to find fields to practice on.
I kinda understand that, I just wondered if we were to a point where we don't wanna hurt other people coming in, is my concern.
I don't believe so. Especially when we start,
They've got it other places they're doing it here too.
especially when we start league play, right, there's not gonna be very many openings anyway.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, if there's no other questions, I'd make a motion to pass pending orders 3579
On first reading?
on first reading.
We have a motion,
Second.
we have a second on first reading. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. And I have a motion to suspend the rules.
So moved.
I
Second.
have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. And third and final.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any
Aye.
opposed, same sign. Okay. Motion granted.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, originally how many do you want to take together or anything?
This one here is by itself, it's a pending ordinance, 3580 is a
transit ordinance, I see that, sorry.
That's all right. An ordinance to transfer $1,000 from the clerk treasurers to the DOT, other contractual. I have noticed that we have some little bitty baby signs downtown, and I wanted them bigger signs, so I told them I would pay for it if they replaced them, so.
What signs are these?
Signs, West Sixth Street, Grand Avenue, on the traffic lights. So, people with failing eyesight can see them a little easier.
You talked about me.
I did not say,
I just got mine fixed, so it's not me.
Street
Well,
signs.
I do
yeah,
think,
street signs,
It was
yes.
before,
and I think they look professional.
yes.
If they're all the same
I'm real
size.
disappointed when I see rural road signs with
Little bitty.
an upside down B for a Q and, you know, that kind of stuff.
Make sure they're spelled right too. That's always a good one.
Yes.
Any other questions? Take a motion to,
I make a motion.
That's like it.
on the first reading, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. We have a motion to suspend the rules.
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. And third and final reading.
Motion.
We have a motion, did I hear a second?
Bill.
Bill has a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you very much. Thank you, Rosemary.
Do what I can.
Okay, we have a pending resolution 20-46, 47, 48, 49 reimbursements. No, I'm sorry, take that back.
Wait, the first one
46 is
is,
a transfer.
the first one is a transfer, taking in $24,638.45 from City Hall electricity to the 400 Energy Savings Fund. Resolution 2020-47 is a resolution to reimburse police telephone in the amount of $850. Resolution 2020-48 is a resolution to reimburse $150 into the DOT garage supplies. Resolution 2020-49 is a resolution to reimburse police telephone in the amount of $349.99.
Can we take transfers and reimbursements
Yes, you
together?
can. You could take A through J together if you really wanted to.
We're not doing that.
I know, but I was just clarifying.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass resolution 2020-6 through 2020-29.
I mean,
49.
46 to 49.
46 to
46.
49.
46 to 49. Thank you.
We have a motion and a second.
Motion.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Good, motion carried. Okay, John, can you bring up the GIS, please?
GIS failed, so I'm gonna reset it. Can you give me the coordinates, please?
Regency Place, go north.
Right there, about where you had your,
You were on it,
Oh,
right
man,
there.
That's good.
That's it.
Well, you tech guy got lucky. Okay. If you could remove the thing, you can see the street where there looks like in between, there's a street going back or a place where a street, right
that's
there.
an easement.
It is a easement that no one really knows why it's there. I've talked to the park board, I'm not park board, good grief, airport board. I've talked to a lot of different people. No one really knows why it's there or that they need it. We assume that it was there when they developed a subdivision to access that field if they were going to develop it. Well,
Well, that's
they-
the assumption, yeah.
yes, the airport owns that field, so they don't have a need or a reason for it. The reason I'm bringing it to your attention is the landowner to the east would like to purchase it, but we have to go through the legal process, and we're figuring out the legal process now, and we have to notify all the landowners. So that's one property. Unless any of you have any other reason why that's there, I'd like to know your thoughts on that. I presented to the Board of Works just to see what they thought, and there's no objection to it.
To just turn it back to one landowner?
Would petition it, and they have a chance to buy it.
Well, you would contact all the
All the-
landowners
All the
around,
landowners
right?
around.
Adjoining landowner, any adjoining landowner.
Can purchase all or half? For percentage of it?
all of it.
And we would maintain any utility easements if there are any there.
Right. Do we know if that's the case?
As of right now, no.
We don't know any.
And there are no lines going through there?
GIS doesn't show it. There was
Who's
something,
been mowing it?
the neighbor to the east, been mowing it for years. Ever
That
since
wants
he's
to
lived here.
buy it?
Yes. He wants to build a garage here.
It's about 60 feet across.
It's too small. to
Taxes
build a
update on
house
it?
or anything.
Oh, it's on the city of Connersville, there's no taxes. So it'd be
It is-
taxable.
It is a city's,
Yeah, it'd be taxable.
But air, yeah.
What little bit there is, it's not very wide.
I don't have any problem with them.
Can you go to the second one, John?
I don't know where it is.
The 58 acres north end?
Let's deal with one at a
West
time.
of,
Mr. Mayor, I prefer with dealing with one at a time, if you may.
where you wanna vote on one at a time?
You want,
Yes,
okay, well,
unless there's objection by anyone.
I think
Okay.
it's a wise choice.
Because on this, what we're gonna do is, if I understand correctly, that we're to proceed in investigating
Permission
how
to
to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't know if, do we contact everybody? Is it up for
Well,
bid or straight
well-
sale or,
we don't know the answer to that, so.
right, that's what I'm saying.
Okay,
That's what we wanna investigate.
that's what we
correct?
want to investigate. So we got permission to start to investigate. I don't even know what to call that on Regency Place.
Just
Town
go.
North Regency Drive,
Yeah.
Regency.
So do we have a motion?
Basically a right of way or something.
Yes, we just need a motion to proceed.
I make a motion to proceed on the Town
Second.
North Regency Place.
We have a motion second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Okay, we'll start on that one. The second one is the 58 acres right there. Thank you, Joe. You can click on that and highlight it, it'll highlight. I just know the road wouldn't.
You can get rid
There you
of
go.
that tag if you want.
That 58 acres was grant back when Max Ellison was mayor, back in 2000s and early 2000. And there was a grant from the Riverboat to purchase this 58 acres, which they've been trying to market and sell ever since. The major problems with that is you can't see it on there, but at a diagonal, running almost not due north, but it's running to the corner, is a fiber optic pipeline. And then everything on the south side where that little number is there, it's all floodplain. So a lot of it's in floodplain, and a lot of it's got a fiber optic running right through the middle of the thing.
Does that
What-
go east-west or,
The floodplain,
no,
it kind of runs at an angle like this, or kind of
the
northeast.
northern part section?
Yeah, well, right,
The
about
entire-
right through the middle of it. It's,
Like X marks the spot almost,
yeah,
diagonally.
yeah.
That's the correct word.
So, and a lot of it's in floodplain. It's really, that's why we can't develop it. They got it was a development grant for a tech center. Obviously, we're not getting a tech center anymore. I contacted Riverboat, just because I wanted to make sure, because sometimes with that grant money, you have to give money back or whatever. And I said, we'd like to sell this, trade it, whatever, we don't know yet, for another piece of ground that we can use for development for another purpose. And they're all on board with it, so we're fine. We got permission to do that. That's what I'm bringing to your attention now. But again, this is a larger piece of property, so we've got to research the proper legal way of dispersing this ground. So
So is that a field right there? Like, it looks like it's
We cash rent this,
been,
That's what I was gonna ask.
we
Okay.
cash rent it every year.
yes,
It's across from Gordon Estates.
presentation right here.
How does that,
This is field. This is could be planted, but it's more
It's,
grass.
right now it is planted.
It is planted.
Yeah, so we have to work around all that, but that pipeline runs somewhere like right through here somewhere, and then this is all floodplain, so can't do anything with it.
and so there's a easement, I take it, or right of way for the utilities or
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
fiber optic company?
Yeah, and Dave mentioned earlier at the Board of Works about, even if we do maintaining our right of way for, or establishing a right of way for our utilities, because our utilities are stubbed over there, so
I
that would
mean,
be a good move.
The property has a right of way with the, fiber optic company also, right?
Yes, not ours,
Right.
it's all fiber optic.
John, you show 450 north on there,
Is
the
it,
road,
is it
just
gonna
to
be
the
a
south,
problem selling that?
to the south.
But,
Right
stop.
there.
Right there.
All that floodplain area that the mayor is mentioning, at the corner of State Road 1 and 450 North, is the end of a 16-inch water main with a fire hydrant. And I'd like to see, whatever we do with that property, that the city of Connersville maintains a right-of-way or easement, whatever it's called, along 450, east and west, so that if we ever wanted to send water out to Irish Acres or Dungrayson or any place like that, or even all the way out to Harrisburg, that we could utilize that piece of property as running a water main. If we sell it and don't ask for it, we may never get it.
I think that's a smart move.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I do too.
What about, State Route 1, we have a utility right away along there? to provide
There
water?
is one.
There is one there already.
There,
now.
It's
yeah.
already there.
Yeah, I was talking with Brian Dobb after our first meeting, and he was pretty sure there were power poles along the
There's
west side of State Road 1, and there are.
There's
There's
transmission
also-
lines.
There's also communication lines there too,
Who
so all that
provides,
would be utility easement.
I'm
who
sorry,
provides utilities to the subdivision up there?
which utilities? You talk about water, electric, sewer?
Yeah.
We do, sewer and water.
And that
To
comes,
the whole subdivision?
Mhm.
yeah, it has water and sewer, and that comes in off of 450 at the industrial park down there. It comes out of it and goes into Gorton Estates.
And it stops at,
It stops at county
Shea.
line.
No, Shea, I thought.
What is, that's,
Is that the
that's the
county?
last road,
But we don't provide trash there, right?
no, because it's outside the city.
Outside the city limits.
I don't see a reason why we shouldn't sell it.
Any other questions on that? Okay, I take a motion to look at selling the 58 acre, or proceeding with finding ways to sell the 58 acres.
I make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carried. John, if you would, just the old EMS station. In Fayette County.
Yes. GIS is really difficult.
Can we
Oh, blame it on GIS, I see.
Can we sell one in Franklin County?
Make the money, that'd be nice, wouldn't
We
it?
can try.
You are getting closer.
Find the ball field, we'll find it.
No, I'm lost.
You're over too far to the left, that's the
You're
cemetery.
getting there.
Wrong way.
Wrong way.
Wrong way, other way.
Oh.
Dell, 10th.
The other
Keep going,
Is
you're
that the
right.
cemetery?
No, wrong cemetery. That's out by my house. There's Western, there's the road tracks. You're getting, right there's.
There's
Mr.
ball
Field.
field.
Right there, yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Right
We've been approached by, well, I guess it'd be 3 groups now, about this. I know Rosemary said we had a, how old was that? I forgot to ask you. Was it 6 months, more, less than 6 months? Well, it couldn't be.
Can't be now. But I do
I
have 2
didn't know.
appraisals.
Was it, do you know when? Is it at least 8 months?
I don't know,
Okay.
I just have the envelope.
We had groups approach us about selling that building. We don't use it for anything. We do have some stuff stored in there a little bit, but it's really kind of useless. The only thing I was concerned about keeping it was making a better, if we was to tear it down, to make a better truck entrance there, so for Roots and all those guys, but I'm not sure that's a concern for them or a need at this point. I'm gonna go talk to them as well. That'd be part of the process. But and the other thing is not on the tax roll, so if we looked at selling, that would also be an opportunity to get it back on the tax roll. But I don't see maintaining a building like that, because it needs some work.
And we're still paying electricity on it?
That's the only thing we're paying on.
Yeah.
Probably
Okay.
insure
It's gonna need a
everything
new,
else
it's
Well,
gonna need a new
and
roof.
insurance.
Insurance, yeah.
insurance.
It's gonna need a new roof. I noticed one of the doors was damaged, and So it's,
Also got some sewer line problems, underneath. Does have-
so, like I said, we're gonna store a little bit of stuff in it for right now until we figure out what to do with it. Yes, sir.
I just did an email search, the last revised appraisal, is dated December 27th of 19.
I could probably make that fly. We'll see.
The vehicles immediately behind that, which is to the north of that, are the employees of the station. So
But that's not
that-
station property.
Okay, that's gonna be the question.
Yeah, actually that barn is half, is it half
Higher.
on ours and half on theirs?
The storage shed is half on the property to the north.
Yeah.
Oh,
To the apartment complex?
No,
No,
higher
the-
praise.
the higher, yeah, higher praise building there.
Oh,
They've just never said anything. They always didn't bother them and they didn't worry about it, so.
what about the green space between the
G-
tracks and?
GIS shows that as the apartments, and I can't see that. That's, to me, it'd be all railroad. But if you click on it, for some reason, it shows the apartments. You can't always trust GIS,
Right.
True.
so I'm not for sure. It's like John's clicking on it, it's showing.
It's the old canal.
See that right there?
Right.
It is the old kind. It's got to be a railroad. It shows the apartments there,
Huh.
and that doesn't make sense to me. So
Unless it was part of the deed with the pattern building.
I would think the railroad would
And
own
it could
that.
be, because there's
Maybe.
two real old hydrants back there.
Right.
Could be. I don't know. It didn't make sense to me, but our building's kind of just right there. So
So we have a potential client for that?
I know two people are interested. Rosemary said she knew of two, but one of them is different. So there's three people that have been.
I don't know,
pursued.
I don't know the two, I just heard
Oh.
that there was two.
We
Okay.
ought to proceed with that.
I think.
Is that a
We
motion?
might as well move forward to.
Yes.
So we have a motion and
Second.
we have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Okay. Ryan, you look like you had a question there.
No,
Okay. You're deep in thought.
yeah.
He's trying to see if he has a use for it.
We won't go there. Okay. Okay, thank you all very much. We will start working on that process and let everyone know how we're proceeding. Okay. Approval of pending orders 3581. If you have this in front of you, did you take it?
No, I didn't have the copy, I just have the,
Okay, there it is. I got a condensed version.
oh,
Okay, hopefully there'll be a lot of questions with this, but hopefully we can get them all answered. I'm gonna give you the breakdown of this. Jeff, you can help me. One of the things we're trying to do is to encourage people to fix up, clean up properties, invest in properties, and we're trying to find a way to do that. It's no more discouraging that you go remodel your house, you get penalized with a tax increase, and that is frustrating, and we wonder why people don't want to invest in their houses. So they try to do everything they can to keep their taxes low, which I understand that. Investors at the same time, as soon as they buy a property that's junk, their tax bill goes up a double. And so we're trying to encourage investing. We're trying to do things to increase our tax base. So one of the things I want to do is put an incentive program together. Now, this is not the program itself, so make sure I clarify this correctly, Jeff. This is giving us the ability to write the resolutions to go with this ordinance. This ordinance allows us to do the abatements, and it gives us the ability to do that. So we will have more work to do. This is just step one, getting it established, and we'll write the legislation basically goes with it. Is that proper way of saying that?
Yeah, that's correct, because there'll be decisions to be made on what those
Yes.
percentages are.
And I'll give you several examples here, but we are presenting this to the county as well. I would love to see this as a county-wide initiative. Is that tomorrow? They're presenting that?
They're gonna discuss it, I don't know if they're presenting the ordinance, but they're
Okay,
gonna discuss
they're
it.
gonna discuss it tomorrow. We've had discussions with them, so they know everything about it, they know what's coming. But if we can do it as a county-wide initiative, I think it enhances all of Connersville, not just the city. But, so what this is basically if you was to purchase a house or remodel with, I say, significant, we'll have to determine what that is, then we could take the increase in your taxes and do it a 5-year abatement. So It'd be abated for 5 years in incremental increases. So your first year, you pay that, then your second, third, and fourth, fifth year is 25% increase, so it goes up by that for over 5 years. It's just a good incentive.
Instead of doing it all at once.
Yeah, you say, well, how does that hurt Connersville? Does it hurt Connersville? Not really, because we're not collecting them now. It does delay when we get them, though. But in reality, if we can incentivize people to fix up their houses, what does that do to our tax base? It grows our tax base, and eventually will help grow our tax dollars.
And the abatement is just on the improvement, it's not the total, you're not talking about.
That's part of it. I think we're going to have to
What you're
discuss
gonna
in
think
the.
Those will be things we'll have to discuss.
In the resolution, because I wanna see investors as well. This is not just for homeowners. This is for investors.
Right.
I like to see businesses do this, but the caveats with some of the business, you know, if we decide to TIF that area, then a TIF area would not apply.
This doesn't say business, it says residence.
Yeah, that's part of
Residents and
the,
investors.
that's part of the resolution we have to come up with
Well,
later.
investor would be a rental property, but.
But that's a business. Well, that's a business,
Well,
cause I'm a business and I buy, so.
when I think of business, I'm thinking of brick and mortar store.
Businesses would include rental properties, cause that's a bit, I mean, I have a business that does that, so.
But, because
I was assuming.
if it's both, I'd like to see that stated that way, if it's only the residential.
We weren't for sure how to state that because of the TIF.
It's only for residences. Okay, it can be business, it could be a business investing in, say, you buy 5 properties, you have a business, you can do that.
Or
But it's
somebody
only,
flipping houses or something.
flipping houses, correct, but it's only, the reason it's residential is it's only for residences.
Residential homes.
And the reason we kept it that way, at least now, is that the mayor has some TIF plans that we didn't want to impact that with this.
And we gotta be, the reason we worded it that way was, now by law, we can TIF residential. I'm not a big fan of that unless it's but most of it's multifamily. We are looking at a pretty big multifamily development that might be TIF, so we had to be careful. That's why as we move forward, we gotta understand TIF more. Legislation just passed TIF for residential. No one really understands it yet, so. But this gives us the ability to start to get the ball rolling. We can start on residential. We can make the resolutions, modify them as we go. But this gives us the ability to start it. And I think if it gets getting the word out, get people know it's coming, we can start getting this thing rolling.
And is this only for existing property, existing buildings that they renovate or
New construction.
refurbish?
New construction as well. You
Oh,
build
new
and see the
construction, okay. Because doesn't the county already have something for new construction?
No, there's one subdivision that has kind of something similar for new construction, but that's the only one I know of, Starkville
Okay.
Heights.
One thing to think about, and this is where the mayor and I have had talks, is that we're going to have to find areas, and I know we want to make it the entire area, the entire city, but maybe if we could start coming up with they can be broad areas, but we do need to have some type of areas that in the resolutions, that's what we include. Because they want to see you're devoted to certain areas to improve the quality there.
Do you know what kind of impact this will have on the county if you reduce their taxes?
We're not reducing taxes.
Not reduce, excuse me, abate.
We're not changing the tax consequences of the properties as they were right now.
5 years.
We're getting rid of what the county and what the tax consequences are moving forward if they improve the property.
Correct, right.
So what's owed on the taxes right now, at this point, doesn't go down, that's not harming
Stays.
anybody.
It stays based
And
on.
so if I go in and put in a new garage, I'm only gonna pay 20% of that taxes next year.
Right, which the county only gets 20%.
Well, no, I only pay that much. But if I'm in the city limits, those come back to the city. So the second year, I pay 40% of the difference of the garage
It's only
that I added.
a city portion.
And
of the
then
property tax.
the third year is 60%. Fourth year, 80 and 100. So 5 years from now, I'll be paying the total full amount tax consequent of my new garage.
Is there anything to keep them there after the 5 years?
No.
Because you would always, because it's
The
always,
assessed values will rise.
No, well, I know that, but that's,
well, you also need to maintain it.
yeah,
Is a very important process.
Yeah.
You want me to maintain my,
right.
you don't want my house to fall apart,
Right.
my garage be
Yeah,
my
I'm just
castle.
looking at somebody's taking, the increments of it's taken advantage of, which is great. But then at the end of the 5 years, they just decided to do whatever they
Which
wanted.
would be okay.
Well, your
if
taxes,
they
but your
moved-
taxes were
They'd be
at that level,
so you'd
so
have to stay.
you have to stay there.
Which
Yeah.
would be okay, Brian, if they sold it after 5 years, moved somewhere else and,
Did the same
and
thing.
upgraded that property.
Did the same thing.
So-
I'd be okay if they moved every 5
Right.
years.
So here's another thing, and this is where I say it's on residential property, but this is going to impact businesses because hypothetically, let's say you buy a property to flip, okay? One of your selling points gets to be, look, I bought a property that was assessed at $20,000. Your taxes are minimal, okay? I turned it in and I sold it to you to a $120,000 residence, okay? That person that's buying it, probably a first-time homeowner, is not paying property taxes initially on a $120,000 house. Their
So it's
tax
transferable-
consequences are gonna
it's
go up over a
transferable.
5-year period.
So it goes
Transferable.
with the property, not the owner.
Right, so it's not only, if you look at it that way, it's a benefit to encourage people to come in and flip properties in your community, and then they have the ability to sell it.
And
It's another
encourage
selling
them to
house.
buy here as well, just to buy here and stay here. That's a pretty good incentive for 5 years.
Sounds like a win-win.
Thanks,
It's the way we tried to make it, cause, you know, it's frustrating to fix up your property and, what in the world, my taxes? Yeah, me too. So, it's a good solution to help build the tax base, it's a good solution to help improve our properties, and it's a good solution to take properties that no one's fixing, hoping people invest, and get first-time buyers in there and grow the community, so. Yeah, I think it's
I think it's a good idea.
that's what we're trying to
And
do.
there's no minimum amount they have to, like they can't put.
We will
Has to be
establish
substantial.
that.
It has to be
Yeah.
substantial.
That's further discussion,
Yeah.
because you're gonna get somebody that's gonna say, well, I put, right.
No.
Yeah, put it in your door knob on,
Right.
I want tax.
Kind of what we were thinking was they would
Well,
have to
that's changed
present it to
since
the Board of Works or City Council for approval, then before they move forward, the county, they can do however they want. But I would like to see it as a countywide initiative, and I think we've got, I don't want to speak for commissioners, I think they like the idea. Obviously, there's gonna be a lot of, ours might be different than theirs, but at least we're moving towards the same goal, and that's to grow and encourage people to live in Connersville.
It's gonna have to affect the assessed value enough
Yes.
to make the difference for it to be.
And that's part of what we're gonna do. This just gives us the ability to do it, and then we'll write resolutions to implement it.
And there may be different incentives for different areas. You may really strongly try to encourage people to impact this area versus
Right.
another area, so.
I like it.
I do too.
I think it's a win-win.
Yep, I do too.
If there's no further discussion, I make a motion, we pass pending ordinance 3581 on first reading.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second on first reading. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion to suspend the rules.
Motion.
We have a
Second.
motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. And motion for third and final reading.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. We will begin working on that diligently, we'll look at all the legal aspects, Jeff, and then we'll start making it, we might form a little committee and kinda go from there. I think that'd be a good thing. I think it's gonna be a win-win.
It looked good.
I think it'd be good for Connersville, so. Encourage people to move here, encourage people to invest here and clean up our city. Okay, is there any old business?
I had an email about Shred Day. It's a Connersville city thing about proposing a day to shred documents for citizens.
The transfer station always has had two, shred days every year. It used to be the second Saturdays in May and October, but this year we had the COVID, so it did not get scheduled in May accordingly, so we
So-
will,
We need to,
it is scheduled, I believe, this Saturday. Second Saturday in July, or it could be the 18th. We'll have to get that information.
so
and-
should I just email them back and have them contact the street department?
No,
No,
the transfer
transfer.
I
station,
mean, the transfer
Tom.
station.
yes.
They might want us to reschedule it.
I'll make sure we get with Tom tomorrow. I'm glad we'll ask him.
I mean,
What
what
did,
to do
no,
that.
I mean, he talked about it last month. about the shred day.
Yeah. My memory's not that good.
Was there the board works?
Any, other old business? Okay, you know, I got a couple of things under miscellaneous business. Negotiations, if, we are going to be negotiating the fire, streets, parks, transfer, streets, parks, transfer go together, fire separate, and EMS will be separate. Does anybody have any preference on, we can have 2 council person and each one of them, so does any of you have any interest in doing that, let me know. Shoot me an email, shoot me a text. That way we start getting these scheduled. We'll probably schedule the next couple of weeks. We will probably, I'm trying to get them during the day. If that won't work for you, let me know. Or let me know what works for you, but, we are starting to schedule those, so by contract, we have 2 council person in each one, so. And I'm asking for department heads to be in each one as well. So let me know if you'd be interested in doing that. If not, I'll volunteer you.
That was,
I don't have a problem with it, to do it.
was that a s-
During the day though, would that affect you?
Depends on what time of day.
What time do you get off?
I get off at 3:30.
Dave, you said, I'm sorry, Dave.
that's, street and parks, EMS and fire.
Streets, parks, and transfer all are on the same, union. Fire will be separate and EMS will be separate. EMS has the same union representation as streets and parks, but they're going to, they're separate.
Right.
Just a sign, man.
Do what?
I said just a sign.
Okay, you're good with time? Anything, you interested? Just shoot me an email, let me know. It's okay if you're not. Those are fun. Okay, anybody have anything from a public forum out there?
Interesting.
Yeah, okay, if we have nothing from the public forum, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
A second?
I'll second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you very much.